So maybe you just had a full mouth extraction and you have these dentures in your mouth that are foreign to you. Or maybe you're going to have a full mouth extraction and you're listening to this now. Keep listening, because when you get dentures, you have this foreign object in your mouth that you're not used to, that makes you feel miserable, that you don't know what to do with. Your gums hurt, and maybe you're further along and your gums are shrinking and your dentures are all over the place, and you don't know what to do. Don't give up. Let me tell you why. And I've not ever really shared this story. I've never really talked about this to anybody. I'm going to talk about this with you. I just am. Probably over 10 years ago, I was in a marriage that just wasn't right. I was raised in the Nazarene church. When I was 5 years old, we started going to the church next door, which was the Nazarene church. And I went all the time. The doors, whenever they were open, we were there. So like Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday, we did all the revivals. We did everything. My parents had keys to the church. So from the age of 5 until about 18 or 19, probably 19 or 20, I went to church all the time. And I'm thankful that I did that, because I had a background in God. But when I hit 19, 20 years old, I just kind of strayed away. I just went away. And I got in a marriage that was just not right. I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't care. And the reason I strayed away from the church is, something happened, and I did a video on that where I gave a baby up for adoption. And if you want to watch that, go back, I'll link it. But I was just angry with the church when that happened. So that's what made me stray. I wasn't angry with God. I was angry with the people. So I just stopped going. I just stopped going to church. And this went on for over 10 years, maybe 15 years. I just quit going to church. I never gave up on God, but God was on the way back burner in my life. It was just way, way, way back. I knew he was there, but sometimes I just didn't care, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I have this mother that just prays, and thank God that my mother just prays for all of us every day, because probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, I don't know, I was in Italy with my now ex-husband, and we were walking around Italy, and I was in Torino. We did Venice, we did it all. We were walking around Torino, and I don't know anything. I didn't know. I just know the churches were beautiful. And we walked into one church, and it was full of nuns, and they were just singing, and it was just beautiful. And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. Well, we walked Torino, and there was this little church. We were going to this castle or something, but in front of that was this tiny, tiny, tiny little church. And I'm like, let's go in there. Let's just go in there. We walked in there, and immediately the presence was like, oh, it's so quiet in here, and it just feels good. I don't know why, but it just feels good. Well, you want to know what was in that church? We were with some family members that live in Italy, and they said, well, the Shroud is in here. And I'm like, the Shroud is here? Yeah, the Shroud is here. I didn't know that. So this church, I'm going to get teary through this. I'm going to. This church was the most peaceful place I've ever been in my life. It was like, I can't even describe it. And I'm standing in front of this shroud. I'm standing in front of this, and I'm like, oh my. And in the back of my head, I could hear a little voice saying, Michelle, what are you doing with your life? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. What are you doing with your life? So we stayed in that church I don't even know how long we were there. But something that at that moment changed me. It just changed me. And we stayed, I honestly don't know how long we stayed. I just put a new contact in and I'm going to cry and it's going to get yucky. So we finally left because, and I just didn't want to leave. It was a place I didn't want to leave. It was like, I'll always remember that place, always, and be thankful that I went there because that changed my life. So fast forward, we get home from Italy, my husband and I, my husband at the time. My 3 daughters, we left home with my mom and dad just because it was just easier. So the kids are home, we're home, and I was a bus driver, so my kids were at school. My husband at the time was at work every day. And what did I start doing? I got my Bible out. And I started reading that. I just started reading that every day. I just started reading my Bible every day. I was hiding reading my Bible, but I was reading my Bible every day. And something in me was starting to change. It was just starting to change. Well, one day, shortly after all this is happening, my husband at the time came home and said, I don't want to be married anymore. And that was a huge shock to me. Huge. Didn't expect that coming. Not at all. But as he was standing in the kitchen telling me he didn't want to be married anymore, he wasn't coming back home. He just wasn't doing it. So I had a sorrow, but I had a peace. And I can't even explain that. So, I went to work and I got the kids home and everything, and I told them, he just left them. He was their father for over 10 years, and he just left them. He just left them. He wasn't their biological father, and he knew that. And he told me that when he left. We don't have ties, so it's okay if I go. And it was okay to let him go. Because I just knew in my heart it was okay. So, fast forward a couple days, he took all the money out of the bank. All of it. And I'm like, I was okay with that. I had a peace that I was going to be okay. And I was broken. I was just broken. But I knew I was going to be okay. And I never called him, I don't think. Maybe once, but I just never said, are you coming back home? I don't remember. I knew I didn't want that life anymore. I just knew I didn't. And I didn't know why, but I knew it was all going to be okay. So, I moved me and my daughters out of the house that we lived in for eight years. I don't know, where I was comfortable. God took me right out of somewhere I was comfortable and just kind of said, plop me out and said, nope, you're not going to be there anymore. And I believe that. I totally believe that. So, through all this, by broken, it was springtime and all the trees bloomed and all the flowers bloomed, and I didn't see it. I didn't see that. And I missed it all. I went down to about 90 pounds. I was very thin, and that broken. But I was that broken with a peace. So, we're going to fast forward. Now we're living with my mom and dad. My mom and dad took us in the basement, which we called the lower level. My dad built me a bathroom down there, which I'm so thankful that he did. And we had bedrooms down there, and I was okay. And we called it the lower level. Okay, it wasn't the basement. I lived in the lower level. Hold on. So, I'm still reading my Bible. Still doing that. And my mom's like, you want to go to church? Now this is the church that they lived next door that I just didn't, that's where I didn't want to go. That's where I left 20 years ago because I was mad at the people. So I said, okay, I'll go with you. So I remember going to church, and I remember sitting there crying, just crying. And I'm like, ugh, it wouldn't stop. I was crying and I was shaking and it just wouldn't stop. And my mom, sitting next to me, said, don't give up. Don't give up. It'll get better. I promise you it'll get better. Don't give up. Okay, Mom, I'm going to trust you and I'm going to trust God. This is going to be okay. So, went back. I'm crying, shaking now. So I went back the next week, and it wasn't so bad, but I still cried because I was just broken. So every week I went back, it got a little better. And every week my mom would say, it's okay, it's going to get better. Just keep trusting God, and it's going to get better. So I did that. I trusted God, and it got better. And I was reading my Bible. And at this point, I didn't give up. I didn't give up when he left me. I was like, what do I want my girls to see right now? Because I had 3 teenage daughters at the time. I want them to learn that you don't give up. So I did. I went back to school. I did that. I went to school. And I went and got my motorcycle license. I did that. And I bought me a motorcycle. Because that's something I always wanted to do. And I'm like, now's the time. I'm just going to go do it. And me and my dad already had his license. And we took the class. And we did all that. And, you know, I scored best in the class. Just want to put that out there. So I had a motorcycle. And, you know, I did that for a while. But I wanted my girls to see when you get kicked, really hard in life, you don't give up. You have faith and you just keep going. Because I knew there was something better for me down the road. I knew. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. None of it was easy. None of it. But I did it. And I just had faith. So I joined a women's Bible study that I really enjoyed. And that helped me through a lot of it. And I then, believe it or not, I've been playing the organ and the piano since I was like 6 years old, 7 years old, young. So I started playing the organ every Sunday morning at church. And I did that. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this. So I did that. And then I would sit at the piano and fill in if they needed that. But I did that on Sunday mornings, and I went to church, and I did that. And I started living my life for what God wanted me to do. And I didn't give up. I never once gave up, because I knew at the end of the road or in the future, it was going to get better. I couldn't see that span of time, but I knew I just had to get through this awful broken time that I just felt terrible inside and out, and I knew I had to get through that. And, you know, I did that, and it was a big change for me, because when my ex-husband left, my whole friend group, it had to change, you know. So that did too. I would go to work because I was friends with a lot of people at my job. And we would just sit around in the lounge before we got on our buses and just do that. But my friend group, I knew that needed to change too. So I would just go clock in and leave and go sit in my bus. And I did that every day, every morning, every night. I just stayed away from just everybody. except for John. John was my buddy. John is a preacher, and he was a bus driver, and he preached to my dad a long time ago. My dad found the Lord because of John. So here I am with John, with the man that talked to my dad all these years ago. So here I am sitting with John in the bus and just learning and just being counseled and just getting through. So if you just had a full mouth extraction and you have these things in your mouth that are like, what do I do with them? Don't give up. You don't give up, because this is your miserable time. You're going to have a miserable time, and you're going to have a year that's just going to be miserable. Maybe some days will be good, some days will be bad. Some days you're just going to get so tired of these things in your mouth that you're not going to know what to do. Don't give up. Don't give up. I didn't give up from here to here, and I trusted that it was going to be okay. And I'm telling you, it's going to be okay. I went through this. I did all this, and I didn't give up. There were days I felt like it. There were days that it's like, I just can't. I can't do this anymore, because but then you look in the mirror and you smile, and it's like, oh, this is the result of me going through this misery. Because now I can eat and now I can chew. The teeth that I had before in my pre-denture life, I was missing all the bottom. I was missing half the top. In fact, I lost a front tooth before I had all my teeth pulled out. And I couldn't eat cold stuff. It hurt so freaking bad. And I couldn't chew. I couldn't eat anything. And I was afraid to eat anything hard, knowing that something's going to break, because it normally did. You know, so this is what I have now. I can chew. I am now over 2 years into this. And it's been a journey. And you guys have watched my journey. And look at me. I can chew. I can chew ice. I can chew hard things. I can bite into things and not worry about anything breaking, because my teeth are rotting. I can eat ice cream and not want to hit the ceiling because it hurts so bad. So give yourself a year. Just know that year is going to be not the greatest year that you're going to have with your dentures. It's not going to be. Your gums are going to be shrinking, and your dentures are going to get big. One day they're going to fit you great, and the next day what happened? They're loose. They're moving now. What happened? There are so many products out there now that can help you through that. And I've tested lots and lots and lots and lots of products, but I never gave up. When one thing stopped working, I'm like, all right, let me try this, or let me try that, or let me try to do my own Reline at home, because I want to know if I can do it, because you guys, it's expensive sometimes when a dental office doesn't pay for that. So let me buy this $10 Reline kit, ProSoft, and let me use that. I loved ProSoft. $10 got me through. And I knew that when I started using a heck of a lot of adhesive, because that's another thing. Who wants all that glue in your mouth? Well, that first year that you're going to have your dentures, you're just going to have to deal with the glue. It's just there. It's just, until you get your permanent dentures, you're going to have sometimes a mouthful of glue, and you're going to take your dentures out, and you're going to be like glue all over the place. That'll get better. It will get better. When you get your permanent dentures, when I got my permanent dentures from Denture Box, I don't wear glue on the top of my denture at all. I didn't. I'm like, oh wow. And I could chew and I could bite, and I could do that. On the lowers, I wear adhesive when I feel like it, when I know that I'm going to eat something, because I'm not one to try to eat without adhesive. Something that like, if I'm going to bite into a sandwich, I'm not going to worry about my teeth and where they're going to go. I'm not doing that. So I found just a little adhesive on there, and Now, I'm okay with that. But when you start having to plop so much adhesive on your denture in the first year, you're just using half the tube to get your teeth to stay in, you need a soft reline. And I have a lot of videos doing my own soft reline. When something starts to like hurt you, like a white spot, you're seeing a white spot on your gums, that is a sore. And you either need to go into the dentist or watch my video on how I fix my own sore with a nail file. But I never gave up. I just kept pushing forward. There were days that I wanted to take a break, of course. I did that. And it was like, I just can't do this today. I'm not going to do this today because I just don't want to wear these things today because I just need a break. Take them out. Give yourself that space, that time, because it makes yourself feel better. You know, if you're just tired of it, take it out, but put them back in. I know when I got my immediate dentures, my dentist told me don't take them out, leave them in. So I wore them for a straight 2 weeks and didn't take them out. And my incisions, I had stitches on all of my incisions. I don't know if any of you've seen my first videos with dentures. And I would put those, my dentures stayed in there on top of my incisions, and it was like, that, like day 3, they were swollen. It was awful. But you know what? I got through that. And I learned that ice in your mouth feels really good because it freezes the denture and then it acts like an ice pack on your gums. So I thought, oh, okay, well, this is working. I'm going to share that. So I shared that a long time ago. And everything that I found that worked for me along the way, I've just shared with you. Because it's like, okay, so I'm going to go through this and I'll just share it with you because maybe it will help you. But don't give up. Don't give up, because in the end, the long goal is joyous. You know, the long goal of my life, because I can look back now and see how God has worked in my life since my now ex-husband left me. I can see how I've grown in God, in Jesus. And I don't think that would have happened if I would have been staying in that marriage. I don't think that would have happened. I've just grown now in God, and I just have a platform now that I want to share. You know, it's funny. I told this story a couple of years ago. When I got saved again, because I went through, when I got saved again, I'm like, God, I'll do anything you want me to do. I'll just do it, and it's like, I heard somebody say, let God is in your life, let him lead you, and just give it all to God, and just let him be in all of your life, not just at church, in all of your life, and let him lead you in all of your life. I forget where I was going with this. Where was I going with this? But my life, I can look back on that and I could see little bits and pieces where I've learned and grown along the way. And I've always said, oh, I know what I was saying. When I got saved, I said, okay, God, I'm going to do anything you want me to do. But jokingly, here's what I told him. Hold another drink. Jokingly, I'll do anything you want for God. I'll just do anything. I've gone through a lot in my life, and if you need me to share that at any time, I'll do that. But I don't want to be a missionary in Africa. I don't want to go to Africa. And I just kind of chuckled at the time because I just did. Because it's like, that's just a so far-fetched thing. I don't want to go to Africa. Well, a couple of years ago, I told a story on here or something. I don't know. And guess what? I got an email from somebody in Africa that saw my video. And I just had to smile because I remember way back when I said, God, I don't want to go to Africa. I went to Africa. I'm being seen now in Africa and all over the world. I'm in Africa. Right now, I'm in Africa. somebody in Africa might be watching this. I'm there, and I just had to laugh because that's just funny to me. So don't give up. Don't give up with your dentures. Get through it. It's miserable. I know. I know that. I've been there. But keep pushing forward. Keep practicing talking because you'll get it down. Practice talking without your teeth too. That's a thing. I did that and it was just funny. And when you make funny noises or you whistle with your dentures or you click, you know what, just laugh about it. Rob and I would just laugh about it. Or when you gag, because you'll go through that too, you know. There's a lot of stages to this, and just find humor in it because it makes it better, you know. Just find joy in your life. Don't just wish you were somewhere else or you wish you were done with. Be in the moment and enjoy that, and your life will be so much easier. And I've learned that along the way too. It's like be in the moment and enjoy where you're at, because it just be happy and don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about tomorrow. Just be in today and take baby steps, because you know dentures are prosthesis. Just like you would have a leg cut off, your arm cut off, something like that, and you would have to learn to walk on that new leg. Well, it's just like your teeth. You're going to take baby steps on that leg. So take the baby steps with your teeth, and you'll get there. You will get there, I promise. All right, I've kept you guys long enough, but I just want you guys to know that I'm shooting for you to just get through this. And if you're having a hard day, that's okay. That's okay, because tomorrow's a new day, and you could just try all over again. But just don't give up. Just don't give up. All right, I will see you in my next video.